Namaste. So a restorative recoup session number 2. So we'll work a little bit more than how we worked in the earlier session. So again, because these conditions, otherwise, since I'm spending some time supine on the bed, the session itself, I'm working more on a seated position. So just starting with simple knee hug, but from a seated position. So it just nicely gets the knee to flex, just a nice gentle kind of dorsiflexion. So just staying here, soft hug. The minimal force, just a comfortable hug. It's just the breath. And I'm just staying with the sensation of the closed eyes and just keeping awareness right behind the eyelids, that space, just giving a sense of peace and calmness. And softly changing sides. That's roughly around 2 minutes. The left side, in the past, I had some hip injuries, so just being a little bit more soft beside the hip or back, and all of that will be a little bit more sensitive. Also, if I just rush into what the right side did, then the body might get a little bit worried, and I don't want it to when it's recovering. Just, just taking a slightly more held back position. Just breathing. So occasionally with the hugged forearm, the left forearm, slightly pulling back, which brings a little bit of a twist, which gives a little bit more of a room for the right to go across a bit more. Just bringing that slight twist. Okay, now it seems to be easing. I'm slowly going down, and then I'll focus on that behind the eyes. So gently coming up. It's 2 minutes already. So now from here, I'm just continuing this this same sequence of hip flexion. So just taking this what in our system is called lunge hold. So I'm not taking this leg way back. So just around here, just to work on the flexion. So again, I'm not um, holding too much or anything. So just staying here, and just because there seems to be a greater sense of relaxation when the forehead is touching. So I'm just keeping this contact. So you can just be in whatever position is appropriate to you. Sometimes hip flexion range is much more freer in your bodies and don't have to use the props. But if you are using the practice to connect to a deep sense of peace and rest, maybe it's a good idea to keep something under the forehead. Uh, 2 minutes and softly changing sides. All these marichi positions, I like to just contemplate on one of the meaning directions of the term marichi. So it is like a ray of light, mass of light. It's even given as one of the names of the sun. So that's a beautiful contemplation. So it's like we are a form. I feel my embodied form. So just think of a movie screen and different images and different characters being projected on the screen. And if those images start to develop some kind of a self-consciousness, so, and when they ponder about what they are, they obviously feel the solidity of the screen on which they are being projected. But if they look at their own essence, they might find that they are actually light, beamed light projection. So in that sense, if we are we projections of light, the light being the consciousness of the universe and we being projections in it. But then I feel the solidity, so you can think of it as a little bit like a frozen light. Perhaps the Muladhara chakra slows down the frequency of the light and okay, it's 2 minutes. So slowly, just coming off that position. So now perhaps we can just work a little bit on hamstring. So half Hanuman is a position right now. I'm just thinking I'll take to just this kind of position and just resting into the invitations of the pose. So and considering this morning and the body is struggling a bit from this flu and all those things, so just don't know whether I need a chair or a little bit of a twist. So this position seems to be quite relaxed. The Hanuman is different aspects from the Hanuman stories. It's a beautiful thought direction. So the right side rib, there's a little bit of collapse. So since the chair is nearby, I'm just using the chair to keep that right side a little bit lifted. So just a bit more comfortable. So one of the things of Hanuman is Hanuman can take any form. And so the stories of Hanuman taking the form of a human while having to talk to Rama and Lakshmana first time in the forest. He takes that form so as to not to startle Rama and Lakshmana, not to appear in front of them as a talking monkey, which will perhaps startle them. So he just went as a human. And then when Hanuman had to talk to Sita in the forest of Ravana, held captive there, Sita, Hanuman took the form of a smallest cute monkey. So again, not to intimidate Sita. So just depending on the circumstances. So similarly, sometimes even position-wise, we can always take our big full range positions right now, just taking a humbler kind of shape and just breathe. But again, it's more than 2 minutes now, so softly exchange. So it's a good idea to have different props arranged within arm's reach so that you don't have to move about too much once you start to do the practice. Okay. There's a little bit of restlessness though that earlier portion is quite comfortable, the mind just wanting to do a little bit more. And sometimes it's okay to just do it, but being watchful. And if I feel my jaw starting to tense or something, I might come off to the left side. It's a little bit collapsed. But in today's sequence, it's more about just being, not so much about correcting and so forth. So again, it's 2 minutes, just slowly coming off. So the next, I'm just going to take a position to lengthen the psoas. So it is the lunge, the long lunge, the lunge arch, but not arching too much. So just to give that sense of support, just using this bolster for the back leg. So the front leg is here, and the back leg goes as back. It's comfortable. So this is just going really back. And just using this chair to support my light arch. So just to show the, so just really as low as possible. Okay, so just starting. So just quite rested here. Every now and then I might slide that left leg back a bit more. The right side leg and hip is in service of the left hip going down more. So if the right knee is vertically above the heel, that is quite high, which might get that hip to be also held a little bit high. So if I open that out, I feel a nice opening, a little slight opening to the right inner hip, as well as a little bit on the outer. And the psoas is opening a bit more of the left side. This is not particularly deep rest relax. It's a little bit of effort. So this is a little bit I'm trying also today to slightly push the body, not too much. And later, depending on whether the fatigue fever comes back, then I know I just pushed it a little bit too much. And then we have to tone down the next time the practice is done. Just breathing. So that's around a minute, 2 minutes, just softly changing. The right psoas is a little bit more resistant in this body. So it needs more kind of loving acceptance. So just not labeling it as the bad side or the tighter and all such labelings. It's just beautiful. Right hip, right psoas. Perhaps I use you so much, perhaps in the earlier days, martial arts, and so perhaps right leg has been the main kicking leg. The hip flexor is always firing to take the thigh up. So it served well in those ways. And so now, but that same thing, it is used to flex strongly. So now we are asking to extend. So there might be a little bit of that, little bit more, less, that kind of a pliability in that direction. But we have to acknowledge it's due to many past actions. So holding everything in a good light. A nice feeling also just to contemplate where is the right lesser of candor. It's just beautiful that shows us moving a bit forward and through the iliac bones into the lumbar spine. This is also beautiful, such beautiful architecture. So now slowly, it's 2 minutes, so slowly coming off. So moving into a supported, as supported as possible, full Hanuman. So I'm just using 2 chests. That is really great support. It should be very comfortable with the forearm resting there. The block I might shift from this position, if necessary, I might go upward. So but since a half Hanuman and the long lunge felt kind of okay, maybe this position is okay. Okay, so the timer starts. So just resting here. So occasionally with the right elbow, you can kind of grip back. That helps a little bit of this rotation. And occasionally, if you want, you can just gently pulse back to further open. But the pubic area right now, not too aggressively, every now and then trying to pull upward. In our practice system, we call it the cobra pose. But now I'm just going to simply rest. So Hanuman is also like, in terms of parentage, that one side is the Vayu, the air element. So just focusing on some nice deep breaths and thinking about it. We're all children of the air element. Because without the air supporting us, we won't be alive. Okay, so that's 2 minutes. Just softly changing. But actually, like to sometimes we are all stuck with the right kind of position. So I would like to twist a bit more, but then I'm just, it's okay. It's okay. The right position is not really as squared as I would like it to be. Still feeling the left hamstring a lot and the right psoas a lot. So it is tough a little bit for the body. There's a lot of stiffness in the body due to the infection, and a soft opening is good, but this is not so soft this side. but I'm just still staying here. I don't want to put more push on the body by trying to be very correct. So it is okay. So just noticing that even deep breath is not so comfortable. But today is like a test practice as well, where the body later feels a little bit better and energized. If so, this element of this much of soft push is okay. And if it feels more tired, I will dial down on the effort in the subsequent session. It's around 2 minutes. So today I also wanted to slowly get into a downward kind of directions, but not to put weight too much. So I'm just going to do it completely supported, so which for me this chair height is just nice. The heels might not completely ground, but I will feel a little bit of stretch at the calves. So if you feel this area is sensitive on the bars, put a blanket or something here and gently putting that hip crease, just taking the feet back and softly folding the arms straight. And this is a really nice restful position. Yeah, I'm just going to be here. Occasionally, I'm slightly pushing to get that back heels grounded. It's not so very necessary at all, but just to get that calves to open up a bit. So that's 2 minutes. So as I'm coming up, I'm going to slowly take a supported uttanasana. So one of the variations is this chair in this orientation. So it will press deep into the hip crease when just pressing it in that way. So hip crease here, and then just using the bolster here, which you might not need to, but you have to arrange the chair so that it doesn't fall over. You should feel safe. So just taking the position so I can kind of relax into that chair. It helps me to fall deeper. It's a standing pose, but still rested a lot. this position is nice to just feel this. It's a very pleasing sensation as you focus on the inner skull space, and you can sense that space more clearly in these inversions. And just make sure this suboccipital area, the back of the skull, so here it's just relaxing down. Sometimes even here, due to pattern, you might keep it a bit like that, just relaxing fully. You can even occasionally give it a mild attraction. Gravity is already doing it, but just gently pulling the skull down a little bit and just staying here. And slowly arching and gently coming up. Since that was an inversion, I'm taking this opportunity to perhaps try a supported sirsasana. So this room is not where I usually practice, so stuff which is around and all that, I'm not very sure, but gently going towards it. So setting timer for around 2 minutes. So if you're not familiar with these kind of positions, you don't have to do it. You can stay in the earlier position gently. So just resting. Or for a while, I can throw the legs up. Feels a bit, feels quite relaxed. So I'm just staying here. Again, the back of the neck relaxing. It's very peaceful. That's why I'm not talking. Just connect to the peace. So just 2 minutes softly coming down. Okay, now you feel rest in and out. And slowly coming up. So on the basis of that inversion and the Hanumans and the Swas are open, I want to explore a little bit in the back bends. Back bends are a bit more challenging to the system. So really checking whether the body can take all these things, and later, because of the efforts, the body feels better. or not, in which case I would not go back to the sequence, and I will tone it down. So a chair, a kind of a cross between a viparita dandasana and so I'll just angle this so it's kind of visible. So basically, you just enter the chair, and this sequence is basically meant for people who are familiar with all this. If not, it's just not very applicable. So taking this position, sitting at the very front edge of the bolster. So I'm just setting timer again to that 2 minutes. So just sliding the buttocks forward, but don't slide the bolster forward because I want the bolster to support my head. So yeah, that is nice. And then just going a little bit back. The legs are just keeping it reasonably straight there. And just starting just to lengthen up the abdomen, lengthen up the heart. A little bit of opening of the chest, a bit of a retraction, and just trying to open this chest space. So I'm also working a little bit on shoulder rotation. At this position, I feel no strain to the body. So this is just working rotation, and here there's no flexion, but here onwards it is flexing. So sometimes it's just, yeah, no stress to nothing. It doesn't have to touch floor or anything. Just few movements I'm doing. So internally rotated, externally rotate, take it back, and the other side in a similar way. So just alternating. You can just play around a little bit here, both sides, and anytime you want to be still, just be. I went off, but I think it took some time to get into position, so I'm just going to stay here a bit long. So I'm a bit tempted to slide all the way down and take a chair. We breathe and dance with the forearms on the floor, but part of yoga is to see that enchantment, to do more, but not to really go with it. It's okay. That can be done another time. But today, just resting here. And maybe that should do. Just softly about to come off. So here, because the buttocks are so much at the front edge, it'll start to come up. So I'm going to slide the bolster and everything a little bit back, roughly in the middle of the chair kind of position. So then using one hand to slightly assist, slowly coming up and letting the bolster relax down. And in fact, I can just set it up for the shoulder stand, chair shoulder stand. So once here, slowly leaning a bit forward, standing, and taking the chair off, taking the body off the chair. So I'm just going to straight away go into chair shoulder stand. So again, those who are not familiar, then it's okay. This particular practice needs you to be quite familiar with using the props and chair. So just swinging catching the sidebars. Initially, the buttocks is somewhere around the middle. And as I come down, I just adjust the sacrum to be more at the edge. So this is just a nice resting position for me. So here, because I did this today, the whole idea is to be a little bit more active. So I'm just taking the bit more of this unsupported kind of position. So here, a little bit of half board work is needed to keep the body in this position. So just going to try, because today it is whether my balancing abilities and such things are starting to come back. So Niralamba, which is the unsupported shoulder stand. So just, it's actually quite relaxing once you're into it. So just staying here. So this requires a little bit of focus, and your cerebellum and all that is working a little bit because there is the possibility of fall. So they have to be firing, coordinating different muscles. It has to know where the center of gravity is and keeping it over the base of support. This is nice. I am just going into a halasana position, thinking that the hamstrings are ready for it. And okay, this feels very nice. That fall threat is also gone. Nice to feel the Jalandhara Bandha. Difficult to talk here. I'm just feeling that chin lock. Also, it's nice to just work on shoulder extension here. Slowly ending the session. It's up to you. I'm just coming into child posture, which is actually quite easy. Guiding the feet back, bending the knees, a little bit of push, and you should be able to put down to that child pose position. And slowly, I'm ending today's session. So, namaste.